And what we have here are storms that are producing brief gusty winds up to 60 miles an hour. You look at them on the radar, and they're not all that impressive. You don't see the really bright echoes that we would normally associate with a severe thunderstorm. But what's happening here is we have dry air very close to the surface. These storms are raining into that dry air. Some of that rainfall evaporates, it cools the air, and then that colder air sinks down very quickly to the ground. It spreads out. So we get these isolated pockets of gusty winds, and in some cases, these wind gusts have been in excess of 60 miles an hour. We've had reports of some damage in Stewart County earlier. So the potential here for isolated brief gusts of wind up to 60 miles an hour with these storms, they are moving rather quickly. You note that the storms right now are still west of really most of the Nashville metro area, but they're going to sweep through very quickly. They're moving east at about 45 miles an hour. So over the next half hour, we will have that potential for gusty winds, particularly there in that northern quarter of Rutherford County. We're also going to have to watch these storms a little bit further south down in Williamson County that are also moving east. Those could produce some gusty winds as well. They haven't done so just yet, but they bear watching as well.
Okay, we'll keep a close eye on it. Thank you, Ray, for the update there. And we're not going to keep you too long here on radio. So if you want to continue to keep up with what's going on with the storms, I would hop on over to the Rutherford Weather Channel, Facebook, YouTube, X, and Twitch. Just making sure all things are a go in those locations, and I think we're good. So be sure to check us out right there. That's RutherfordWX.com. If you want to just go to the website, you can see the area where we have all of the information there for the different channels. Again, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Twitch. We'll continue to follow it there, and stay with Rutherford Weather. We'll get you back to regular programming on WGNS Radio and break in as the storm gets closer or additional updates are needed. All right, there we go. We have that all taken care of. And Justin, it was kind of a wait and see. I did hear, what Ray had to say about the storms, that they're not overly impressive. Kind of give us some of your thoughts on that. I am not hearing you. I think you're still muted there, Justin, if you're talking. So let's kind of dive down and look at some of the areas that are definitely warned here. Looks like we've got all of Laverne, most of Smyrna. Smyrna really kind of diagonally down to just south of the Nice Mill Dam. So that's Florence in that area. Sulphur Springs Road at Shacklet Road. Right around close to the Siegel area. Actually, Thompson Lane is kind of a dividing line there. So if you're on the Walter Hill side of Thompson Lane, you're kind of in this all the way up 231. That includes Walter Hill School out toward Lebanon Pike, Silver Hill on into Wilson County as well. So again, this is a severe thunderstorm warning, and the warning in effect for the next, well, until 5:45. So we are on the channel, got things rolling here, and here's the warning. Not a ton to talk about at this moment, just kind of show you the warning. And again, it's for northwestern Rutherford County. So I'll kind of outline, and if you know where you live within the county, should be in good shape. So this is the northern extent, Laverne area. Nolensville included in that, so a lot of you in that area know about storms. This comes down into North Murfreesboro here. Here's the edge of that warning polygon. And here's the northern border of that. So if you live anywhere in this area, you are under the severe thunderstorm warning until 5:45. So some of the schools: Rock Springs Elementary, Rocky Fork, David Urey, Laverne High School, Smyrna High School, Stewart's Creek Elementary, Walter Hill, Wilson Elementary, and some of the places: Cedar Crest Golf Club. Um, you've got the Bridgestone Firestone area, Veterans Memorial Park, Lake Forest, Fate Sanders Marina. Hello, Brent from Christiana, who is joining and left us a comment there. Just getting a few text messages sent out and in that direction. Let's see. Sure, that's going good. So, all right. So that's the area that's warned. The bottom camera is looking off in that direction. Actually, let me kind of bring it up full here for you for a second. It's in the Siegel area looking off to the northwest. This is an area that is under the severe thunderstorm warning. Okay. So let's do a quick little reboot and pull out here. I'll show you the radar once again. So again, we're watching for severe thunderstorm warning. I put it up here. Actually, let's do it without the camera so you can continue to see the two live cams we have. Again, the one downtown Murfreesboro is looking to the east, the bottom looking to the west. And here is radar. Looks like we have some storms beginning to make their way down the southern extent of that polygon. Put things into motion here for you real quick. The storms are moving east, but they also have southeastern component to them as well. And that storm down in Spring Hill really kind of popped up, so that's going to bear watching. You can see some hail with that one for sure. This is kind of the hail detector. And where you see those reds, that's going to be hail there. Not seeing a ton in the northern extent of that storm, but could have some pretty decent sized hail down Spring Hill to Chapel Hill, and that's getting awfully close to the southern end of the county. Do have some rain beginning to spread in from that storm. And if this storm is continuing an eastward movement, we may see another warning issued for the southern portion of the county. So just a heads up there. And honestly, to me, that's the storm that looks most potent at this moment. Let's see if we can take a look at the winds here. And with the storm that's in the north end of the county, It does look like the higher winds are right there. All right, let me something here. All right. I heard Justin on either one of the two platforms, I think, pop in here. So I heard a ding. Trying to work to get him with us here. Yeah, the storm down in Spring Hill and Chapel Hill has about exited the warning there. Just taking a look at National Weather Service chat. There has been some wind damage in western Middle Tennessee. So that's as these storms were coming in. Looks like Perry, Humphreys, Hickman, when the storms had strong winds. But just not finding a ton out there at this particular moment, which no one's arguing. And again, the stronger winds are going to be up here where the lighter greens are located. So let's watch the movement here once again. The dogs heard thunder, I think. So the camera that you can see looking at the bottom with all the traffic lined up there, that's looking back toward the Smyrna Laverne area. Boy, it does really kind of look like, I mean, it says the storms are moving east. But as we watch, it kind of gives more of a southeastward movement here, at least with the storms. Let's watch it one more time. Because it's in downtown Nashville now, and if it continues kind of like that east-southeastward movement, we could be looking at Laverne here with some issues with the wind here in just a few. This severe thunderstorm warning, by the way, for northern Rutherford County is in effect for another 23 minutes. I was out trying to beat the rain, and we had some rain earlier. I was not in the place where they had some. I had several people describe it as sonic ice hail, and that was Las Casas, Pike, South Rutherford Boulevard, MTSU campus in that area. If you've seen anything, want to hit us up in the comments. Right now, not a lot to tell you about with these storms, except they are severe warned. And even Ray mentioned he's not overly concerned. Let's see. Just trying to check one of the comments here. Pretty ugly in Chapel Hill a few minutes ago, according to Corey. Trying to get all of my tabs opened up here. So if you want to drop us a comment, we'll be sure to pop that on. Pretty quiet at the National Weather Service as well. Haven't seen any update in about 8 minutes or so. Hey there, Justin. I think Justin trying to make his way on here. We're having a little technical issue, I think, for some particular reason. Oh, did not want to do that. That's a different look at the storm. Let's see if we can look back even further to the west. And you can see the cloud tops there, but this is our best view, honestly, right here, looking directly toward the storm that is on its way. Ray, we were just kind of talking about the storm, meteorologist Ray Miller, and what are your thoughts? It looked like maybe some gusty winds in downtown Nashville, and the warning says this is traveling east, but it looks like it's got a little bit more of a southeastward component to it. So any thoughts here on the storm for North Rutherford County?
Yeah, I definitely think a southeast movement would be a more accurate description. Basically, just kind of coming right down Interstate 24, although the core of the winds would be just north of the interstate by a little bit. And it is no longer a question of if. We have had confirmed severe wind gusts from this storm now at 58-mile-an-hour gust at the Tune Airport on the northwest side of Nashville. So those gusty winds will be moving over the city in the next couple of minutes and then tracking down into Laverne and Smyrna right around the time the warning's set to expire here at 5:45. So again, a confirmed threat of strong winds now with this storm. Wind gust up to 60 miles an hour. Starting to see some scattered reports of some tree damage as well. So this is living up to its potential here in terms of those wind gusts. Winds right around 60 miles an hour, so kind of a low-end severe thunderstorm, but certainly enough to cause some minor damage as it moves over downtown Nashville and then slides into northern parts of Rutherford County.
We were talking also about the southern storm. Someone mentioned in Chapel Hill it looked fairly dark a few minutes ago, and we were seeing that there could be some hail down there between Chapel Hill and Unionville, and we were kind of wondering if that's going to make its way into the southern end of the county or not. I guess it's possible, but if it is moving to the south and east, we may be in good shape there.
Yeah, I think that will miss the larger portion of southern Rutherford County. Some areas right along the Bedford County line may get a little bit of that. And as you mentioned, that's really the only cell that has any significant potential of producing hail. And even that is going to be hail below severe minimums at this point. A little pea-sized hail, maybe a little bit of dime-sized hail down around Chapel Hill and Rover. We did have a warning out for parts of Maury County and Marshall County on that storm earlier, and additional storms moving through that area. Little surprised that we're not seeing anything for Bedford County just yet. Conditions there are very similar to what we're seeing further north, where we have that dry air right near the surface that could translate into some strong winds as these thunderstorms move through. So if you're in that area right along the Rutherford and Bedford County line, no warning just at the moment, but wouldn't be terribly surprised if you saw some brief gusts of wind, perhaps as high as 40 miles an hour, as that thunderstorm passes just to your south.
Not terribly sure if you can see my screen or not, but there has been a cell that's popped up in Milton, and it's showing that it could have some hail with it as well.
Yeah, a little bit of small hail with that one. Again, not really the right environment for a lot of hail with any of this activity here this afternoon and this evening. There is some potential for some small hail, but the real concern with all of these storms will be the gusty winds. I'm looking at that storm on radar now, and there is a little pocket of what could be some penny-sized hail there, as you mentioned, around the Milton area. Eventually moving over toward Auburn town as well. So there's some potential there for a little bit of small hail, but really the story with all of these storms here early this evening will be the gusty winds.
All right. Well, we will keep a definite eye to the sky, if you will, and watch these storms. I mean, it looks like we may get clipped in 3 different directions here. I'm not sure.
Kind of looks that way again. The storm in the northeast part of the county would be moving out pretty quickly, even if it did become severe. But as we mentioned, that storm down in the south there, we could see some gusty winds, even if the storm itself doesn't move into the county. Just the potential for some of those winds flowing out of the storm could easily get perhaps as far north as Christiana in the southern part of Rutherford County. So folks in that area, be prepared. Again, not severe just yet, but quick gust of wind up to 40, maybe even 50 miles an hour, not out of the question at all with that storm.
Very good. Meteorologist Ray Miller joining us here on the Rutherford Weather Channel as we continue to look into the storms. We have the very far northwestern portion of the county under the warning. Let me put the radar loop back on here for you. This severe thunderstorm warning will have another 16 minutes, and now we have that warning for the southern end of the county. So there we go. Just saw it pop up there. You heard the warning. We were, just talking about it. This is going to go for 46 minutes. So this gives me another opportunity to hop back on radio here. This is going to include much more of the county. It pretty much takes everything into account except the very northeastern corner where that storm is in Milton now. But everything else is kind of in a situation where the warning is not going to encompass that area. All right, about to break in here on radio. All right, friends, good evening. Welcome back here. It is 5:30, and we are following severe weather now that covers the southern extent of the county. So all of Rutherford County under some type of warning except for just north of Lascassas, right on up into Canesville. And there's a pretty good storm going on in Milton, but not severe warned. Meteorologist Ray Miller and I were just talking about, he was not sure why that southern extent of the storm was not warned. And that looks like the primary area, honestly. From Eagleville to Rockville to Christiana, Fosterville. Now we do have, for that portion from Milton to Auburntown, a special weather statement. So we're going to kind of pull together, go through all of this, and hang in with our storm coverage here on Rutherford Weather, as well as on WGNS radio for a few. So we're getting some shower storm activity pushing from Nolensville into near the Stewart's Creek High School area. Laverne, you've got downpours right now. The southern end of the county, Chapel Hill, Unionville, those storms are kind of passing to the south. And we've got that one storm that's about to exit Rutherford County. It's right between Milton and Auburntown right now. So maybe, fingers crossed, we have some of our technical things worked out. Do I hear you there, Justin? I heard you for like a brief second.
Hey, Brian, you got me?
Yes, sir. Loud and clear.
Good deal. I don't know what was going on. That was weird.
Yeah. Best laid plans, right? We were just talking with Ray. I'm not sure if you heard any of that conversation, but I said it looked like we were going to get clipped maybe in 3 different parts of the county. And now we've got a warning for the southern portion of the county with that storm that has some potential for hail, although it's kind of fallen off here lately. A little cell in Milton that's probably fairly close to your quadrant of the county, and it had some hail with it, but about to exit. And then the storm in Laverne and Smyrna. Have you been seeing anything as you've looked at the radar?
Yeah, I'm actually headed towards the house, but coming down Lascassas highway right now, Lascassas Pike. And I sent you a picture a little bit ago. The storm's really high based as it was coming down the northern county line with Wilson County. And but it looks like the base has gotten just a little bit lower. It's a pretty solid little storm. Looks like some hail I can visibly see in it, just by the way the what would be a rain shaft is colored. I would assume that that's hail falling out of it.
And you're looking at that storm that's in Milton and headed toward Alexandria, I guess, right?
Yes.
Auburntown, I mean, yeah. And I pulled up a product that we can use to kind of look and see. The radar tries to determine what's falling from the sky. Is it heavy rain? Is it light rain? Is it hail? Or is it, I can't tell. And so where you see the red areas, so right between Milton and Auburntown, definitely some hail there. And
I'm not the camera up. He's videoing it as I'm driving towards the house right now.
all right, let me do that. I'm going to just
Get
go
you a look at that cell.
full screen here for just a quick second.
Severe thunderstorm, but the velocities do pick up on some strong winds in there, and it may not take much of a downdraft with the precipitation to transfer some of those high winds to the surface.
So you would think maybe getting pretty windy in Eagleville at this moment. Now, if we take our tool here and just kind of take a look around, it's not showing a terribly high amount. There may be a pocket south of Versailles of 30, 40 mile an hour winds, and this is taken up fairly high. But this could be, you know, as the storm moves higher and lower in intensity, you know, you could see the winds transferred to the ground and get a downburst. But that looks like where the toughest part of any wind would be here in Rutherford County would be on this southern extent, really from Eagleville to Rockvale, Christiana, Fosterville, just south of the downtown area.
I know there was a pretty good wind signature coming into downtown Nashville. Looked like it was headed towards the Laverne area. What's in that area now?
Well, I was kind of wondering about that earlier, and as Ray mentioned, it was kind of moving down I-24, even though the warnings here are saying moving east at this one 45 miles an hour. But boy, they sure look like they have a southeastward component, at least the way the storms are maybe trying to turn as they go east.
Well,
But there's not a terribly high amount of any winds here left with this, maybe some 30, 35 mile an hour winds. as this comes into Smyrna, Laverne. And again, those could be a bit briefly higher as the storm kind of moves its way on in. There's the reflectivity. And this isn't going to be your, high precipitation type of event either. This is not anything like last week, of course. That was the main question. Oh, here we go again, just like last week. It's not that case at all. And very scattered in nature, these storms. Plus, you've got them in an area where there's just not a lot to work with. I mean, here at Murfreesboro Airport, 75 degrees, but a dew point of 39. Justin, there was someone here asking an interesting question about how in a dew point of 39 are we getting storms? That's why these storms are a bit different. They have a hail component. I told you earlier I was trying to get finished mowing, and it started to rain on me, and it was a really cold rain. So this is kind of a lot of mixing that's going on in the upper atmosphere, isn't it?
Almost a Colorado high plains type of setup with a real dry atmosphere, but it's so cold aloft that you're still able to generate instability and get lift. Compared to those storms last week, where the storms were based like the treetops high, the bases of these storms are several hundred, maybe 1,000 feet elevated off the surface. You can really see the bases easily now because of the high difference in temperature and dew points. The moisture levels really low, so the storms can't condense and form clouds till they're higher in the atmosphere.
Apparently, 61 mile per hour wind gust in Nashville.
Okay.
Around Belmont, 55. It doesn't have a time on when this was reported. And I think that was when you and I both caught that storm earlier, and was wondering, is that what's going to be making its way down here to Rutherford County? But we'll have to assume that northern extent does have some winds capable of producing damage here. We're going to find out in the not too distant future, in 4 minutes, whether that portion of the warning is going to be allowed to continue on to the east. And for Rutherford County, the southern, really 2/3 or more of Rutherford County, another 34 minutes here, so around the top of the hour.
I've got a good view of this storm from my house. My back porch faces northwest, and I'm going to walk inside and get set up back there and give you a shot of this thing as it rolls into Las Casas.
Okay. We did get an extension, so now the entire county is under the warning. That's maybe you heard that sound the radar made here. So this is for northern Rutherford County and Middle Tennessee, and this goes until 6:30. So we're going to be dealing with this for a little bit. So the warning that was for just Laverne and Smyrna, that has now been overtaken by this new warning. That goes for another 48 minutes and carries it on into northern Cannon County up toward Watertown and Wilson County, and a few points off to the east. Let me kind of give you a wide perspective here. And from the Alabama border, well, that may be Mississippi. I need to pull out. No, that's the Alabama border. From the Alabama border to Springfield to Portland. So there's a warning that covers all of the state except for about a 10-mile sliver from Springfield all the way to Red Boiling Springs. So this is a couple of pretty massive warnings. Let me show you this while it's ringing. I have, this is a call from Alert Rutherford. You can sign up to receive severe weather alerts from Alert Rutherford, and they will call your phone. So if that's something that you're interested in, we'll try to post some links to that and get with the Rutherford County Emergency Management a little bit about that. But that's how you can get those alerts from Alert Rutherford. So here is the severe thunderstorm warning. It's a total of 1, 2, 3. We've got 1 minute for this one, and that polygon that's, I'll just mark it before it goes away. This polygon here, it's going to go away. But there's another one that covers it, obviously. So the entire Rutherford County area under a severe thunderstorm warning. Let's pull up the details on this particular warning on this north end. This covers a slew of counties, and the hazards are 60-mile-per-hour winds. There's not a mention of hail within this particular warning. A lot of times it would say the hazards, 60-mile-per-hour wind gust, and 3/4-inch hail. For instance, let me pull this one up. That one's not even warned for hail either. The special weather statement, I bet, was. Gusty winds, penny-size hail. See, so it will tell you the hazards. So we need to assume where the stronger returns are, that's where maybe our heavier activity is. So nothing in Rockvale just yet. Versailles, Windrow, it's coming. It's just your west. Christiana, Plainview, Barfield, you'll be next overall. Then over toward Big Springs, Gum, Pleasant View, Floration, Kittrell, Reedyville in time. Downtown Murfreesboro getting close between Blackman and Murfreesboro right now. It's really around 8:40 at Blackman. Blackman High School getting thunder, lightning, rain. Could have some gusty winds. There's the avenue in that area. If you want to hit us up on chat, I'm going to take a little quick tour. Starting to hit in Browns Chapel right now. I can hear the thunder outside here at North Rutherford County or North Murfreesboro. Coming toward Walter Hill, yes. I think we're all going to get touched a little bit by this. Now, is it severe? Is it damaging? We're under severe thunderstorm warning, so we have to assume so, and that's why we're on telling you. Is this... Yeah, I've seen a few comments about, is this last week all over again? This is definitely not. Definitely not. We can have some gusty winds, maybe some small hail, but we're not warned for hail right now. And severe hail is anything from quarter size and up. So that's 1-inch hail and up. We did have some hail earlier in the Lascassas, Pike, Rutherford Boulevard, MTSU area, and they described it as sonic ice. So there you go.
Hey, Brian.
Yes, sir.
This is the best view I've got of it, and it doesn't even have like your classic shelf cloud like you would expect with a straight line wind event. It's really unique looking storm.
Ray may have a perspective on these thunderstorms. It looks like maybe pulsing up here just a little bit between Florence and Blackman as it moves into North Murfreesboro, hence the extension or the creation of a new warning here.
Yeah, and the reason we have these two rather large warnings now is that we're just seeing pockets of gusty winds within this cluster of storms. You look at it on the radar, and in terms of the actual echoes on radar, which we usually kind of correlate with the intensity of the storm, it's not all that impressive. You're seeing lots of kind of low end, kind of the greens and yellows on the radars rather than a lot of the bright reds and whites that we see when these storms are really intense. And the reason for that, again, is these are just small pockets of gusty winds being formed as the heavier precipitation falls into those areas of drier air. So we're not seeing that classic shelf cloud because this is not a large area of cold air advancing all at once that we often see with our typical straight line wind producing storms when we have a really strong bow echo on radar and a strong leading edge of gusty winds with a really organized system. This is very disorganized, very kind of scattershot across the area. So you have this pocket of reports of gusty winds over parts of Nashville and Davidson County. Most of those probably came from just one or two quick downbursts of wind. And that's what we're going to see from these storms. It's not a big swath of wind sweeping across the area. It's one or two little pockets within these storms. And because so much of the area has really similar atmospheric conditions right near the surface, any one of these little, you almost hesitate to call them storms, more like thunder showers, any one of those could produce a brief severe gust. Now, the storm a little further to the east now, starting to get over into Cannon County, that one showing a little bit more organization, a little bit more strength. But the storm's moving through Rutherford County. Again, you're going to be talking about brief gusts of wind up to 60 miles an hour. Not a lot of advance notice. You're not going to see the shelf cloud advancing on you and think, okay, here it comes, batten down the hatches. Really, at any point between now and the expiration times on these warnings, we could get a brief severe wind gust really anywhere in Rutherford County.
All right, Ray, thank you very much. This is a look off toward that storm. Ray Miller with us, and meteorologist Justin Bailey. Justin, kind of give me an idea of which direction we're looking into here.
Looking southwest, and I'm pretty sure that heaviest, darkest gray area right over the treetops there is that area of brightest reflectivity that you see on radar right about I-24 coming out of Blackman.
Okay. I'm wondering if my camera is actually updating here in the Siegel area, because it really sounds like it's coming down out there, and I'm not really seeing any precipitation in that. So let me do a quick restart of that. We'll go back to what Justin was showing us here, full screen.
From what Ray was saying, it really sounds like instead of an organized squall line wind event, it's almost like there's enough dry air present in the atmosphere that it's just creating a bunch of localized microbursts.
That's kind of, and it's really hard to pick those up on radar too, Justin, because between scans, I mean, it may be there and gone. A microburst is going to happen like lickety split, and then it's gone, right?
Right.
So I think it's probably safe to say in the areas where we're seeing on the reflectivity, we need to be cautious of some possible damaging straight line winds. There we go. We're starting to see the wind whip up. You're seeing a few blades of grass and things of that nature fly by the camera there. Again, this is in the Siegel area looking to the north and west. You can see that really big tree there moving around pretty good. Downtown Murfreesboro, the skies are dark, but the wind has definitely not picked up there. Looks like definitely here in the north part of the county, or north part of Murfreesboro, they have. And flip back over to what Justin is showing us. And he is looking at that storm further away, but looking into or down close to the Blackman area. And this storm is about to make it from Blackman to Murfreesboro. And they are warning for the northern portion of this storm as well now for another 53 minutes. So if you're in Rutherford County right now, you are on or under a severe thunderstorm warning. There goes my weather radio. So that's telling me here from my specific location. But look right here near Oakland High School. There are 3 different severe thunderstorm warnings, 22 minutes, 37 minutes, 52 minutes. So the National Weather Service is just putting a big blanket out there and saying, here it comes. And that kind of goes with what Justin was saying, what Ray was saying. An interesting presentation here on the radar from Murfreesboro. Let's take a gander at this, which will show you 2 of our cameras. That's downtown looking to the east. Here is Siegel area looking to the west. Starting to lighten up here, but still very windy. But starting to see here on radar, maybe a little backward C. That could be some of those damaging winds that are being transferred down. Let's see if we can see anything on velocity. And again, nothing is just really screaming at you, but definitely could have some very gusty winds anywhere in Rutherford County. As I pull out to give you a complete county view, and that really probably is hard to
How
make
strong
out.
is that pocket just north of Oakland High School?
Yeah, I was just thinking about flipping in there once I pulled out. Those are 50, 51, 52, so those could definitely be the higher amounts. So this is over near the Copper Ridge event venue, about to cross Highway 96, just to the south of downtown Las Casas and the elementary school, but there's still a pocket of pretty heavy wind right here. And it's again going to be tracking off to the east-southeast. So that's one of the areas we're definitely taking a quick look at. And even some brighter returns between Shiloh and Sharpsville and the Halls Hill Pike. Those are that's definitely the reason why that got extended, that part. Most of that area was in at least one severe thunderstorm warning, but they continued it on. See what we're getting in this area. Not a whole lot there just yet from Barfield, but maybe some spotty areas of damaging winds between Link and Christiana as well. But after taking a tour there, Justin, to me, it looks like just east of Oakland High School, between there and Las Casas Pike, Sharpsville, that's where we're seeing the strongest winds right now. Let's pop over to Justin's shot as he is beginning to get some of that wind, and you definitely hear the wind for sure.
Yeah, the winds are definitely picked up here.
So, in your shot, you can kind of see, a cloud base, and from that cloud base, some darker clouds below that. Sometimes people mistake that for a lot of things. And is this a tornado? It's not. But what you're seeing there are sometimes even the rain shaft, or you mentioned a hail core earlier. So not really in an environment today where we're going to see a twisting of the winds.
Yeah, no, there's no threat for tornadoes with this setup today.
Devin mentioned I'm seeing chairs and garbage cans flying right now, so I'm sure that that's definitely possible. Someone just mentioned we got hail over on East Clark. That may be from the other storm earlier today. We'll do a quick check. Here's off I-24, a quarter mile from 840. Leaves are swirling, thunder, lightning. So definitely seeing some damaging winds with the storms here. Let's look back at the velocity product. And you can see the culprit right here. Let me pull you back over to that. There's your culprit. Oops, I moved it from the wrong screen. Here we go. So let me do a quick outline here of the reflectivity. Just kind of roughly something like that. And now we're going to take a look at the products that show us the wind. And from this, and Justin, I'm not 100% sure if you can see, but this looks like the winds are coming ahead of the precipitation.
That's what it would appear, but I would think you would have to have the precipitation to mix those winds down to the surface.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure that some of my products like velocity and the HC was really kind of on top of it there. Like reflectivity is further ahead of it or something. But that's the look at the county right now. And if you're out toward Halls Hill Pike to Porterville, you're saying well, don't really see anything right now. It's on the way likely. Let's see. Looking for any additional reports or comments here from you. Not seeing reports. They have scaled back the severe thunderstorm warning just a little bit. They are taking Davidson and northeastern Williamson counties out, but they're keeping everything else in. So you can see it goes right to the county line. Part of what they took out is right here near Rock Springs Elementary School and up in the far corner of Laverne as you go into Davidson County. So that would indicate that once we finally get this western edge to push on through Rutherford County, that maybe, just maybe, we could be done with that. This was never really expected to be a long duration event either. So looks like about 10% of Davidson County is without power. So why don't we go take a look at the MTE power outage map? And yep, we're seeing some there too. Pull it up and get some additional details with that. So again, a severe thunderstorm warning continues for Rutherford County for the majority of the county for the next 15 minutes. There is another warning here that goes for 45 minutes. Don't think it's going to take 45 minutes to get fully out, but that was just a huge blanket warning issued by the National Weather Service. Got a report of 60-mile-per-hour wind at the Smyrna Airport. So we know that when that storm came through at the Smyrna Airport, it had damaging winds. And if you want to know where the Smyrna Airport is, it's right above the Smyrna right there.
I'm getting gusts probably 30, 35 here now.
Let's flip over and take a look at Justin here. He is awaiting this storm to come through. Let's see, the outages in Rutherford County. Looks like only 34 outages. So that's 0.02%, by the way. Here is another look at radar for us. And I want to draw your attention to some of the higher returns over near Black Fox Elementary School, between there and Twin Springs. That could be some small hail falling. And looky there. I think this is, like I was saying a minute ago, behind a little bit. But where you see red, so there's downtown Murfreesboro.
Ryan, I can really hear it roaring overhead. This does have some pretty solid winds with it.
We're looking in downtown Murfreesboro here. I can see Justin's trees blowing around quite good. And it looks like our camera there has frozen up a little bit. So let me go to another one here and show what Justin is kind of seeing there. Trying to get more of, I'm not sure why it's not showing there right now. We're working on some of these things for you. Let's see here. So let me go back to the downtown camera to see if we can see anything. And there we go. It popped back in. I was looking for any hail in the downtown area. And if it is, it's going to be really small. So let's come back to radar, and I'll show you what I'm talking about here. You still have that downtown shot in the upper right, and below it, shot looking towards Smyrna. So you see the skies lightening up there a little bit, becoming lighter, not lightning. So we could have some hail in the downtown area. Don't think that this is really huge hail. If you're seeing some hail and it's safe for you to report, maybe hit us up in the comments section. Mika is saying this is kind of making her a little nervous with all the wind and thunder and stuff. This is just a good old thunderstorm. Could knock down some tree limbs and things of that nature, but we're not expecting anything more than some damaging winds and possibly some hail. And now we're seeing some large hail returns pop up here. That's what the LH kind of stands for there. Overall acres, Double Springs, out toward Kittrell. This has moved through downtown Murfreesboro. We were looking at the downtown camera, didn't see a lot, but the hail returns kind of popped up there pretty good on us. Meteorologist Ray Miller joining as well as we continue our coverage. And yeah, you can definitely see that on reflectivity. We may have some small hail falling here now.
Yeah, it has picked up just a little bit. I would caution you that some of those returns that we're seeing suggesting large hail are probably a little elevated, but some pea to perhaps dime-sized hail, pretty good possibility here now in the area east of Murfreesboro, right along Highway 70S and continuing to move off to the east across the eastern half of the county. The main threat with all of this activity, though, continues to be strong winds. Wind gusts up to 60 miles an hour, still very likely with this storm, and in fact becoming a little bit more likely as the storm is strengthening. So if you're in roughly that eastern third of Rutherford County, in the area north of the interstate, east of Highway 231, east of downtown Murfreesboro, you're still under the gun for these gusty winds here over the next few minutes as this storm moves through. And again, with the rather widespread nature of that gusty wind potential, we've seen this new warning issued until 6:45 for eastern Rutherford County, extending on to the east into Cannon and Coffee counties as well. Just the Weather Service really wanting to cover a broad area here because we have such a large area that could see those brief gusty winds.
Yeah, and I think we're definitely experiencing some of those in parts of the county here for sure. Talk to us a little bit about, I was mentioning that the radar was giving us the large hail signature, but kind of I didn't have a chance to really explain that. This radar beam is looking way up, and not everything up there is transferred down, right?
That's right. And of course, one of the nice things about the Doppler weather radar that we have is that we can look at different levels of the storm. And one of the things that we look at here is, we're seeing these kind of bright echoes at roughly 2,000 feet above the surface. And so that tells us there is a little bit of hail there. But as we look further up in the thunderstorm, what's happening? And as we do that, as we go through those various levels, we don't see those same bright echoes really reflected consistently through the height of the storm. So that tells us that if we do have a hail core here, it's probably a fairly small one. And the radar is, again, as you've shown, showing us some of those automated algorithms that tell us, there may be a little bit of hail occurring here and something to watch out for. But overall, the hail signature is not something that's really impressive here in terms of the potential for severe hail, quarter-sized hail or larger. I'd be surprised if we had any of that. But a little bit of very small hail, again, the size of a pea up to perhaps a dime or penny-sized hail. It seems like a reasonable expectation, especially right there in that core where we have the brightest echoes.
And showing the velocities right here. And this is kind of the area that's seeing the highest winds from Floration to Kittrell over toward Reedyville, Sharpsville, Lascassas, maybe just a little south of there, headed toward Milton. So that's the area we're going to continue to watch. And people are asking questions, well, what's after this? And I think what's after this is some cooler weather tomorrow and on into this evening. It's going to calm down fairly quickly from west to east.
Yeah, this will be the main weather event. What's been driving these winds, we talked about this a little bit during the last update, is that we have fairly dry air near the surface. These storms are what we would call elevated thunderstorms. The base of them is just a little bit higher up in the atmosphere. So as the rain and what little hail we have falls through that dry air, some of it evaporates, it cools the air off, and then that cooler air is cooler than the surrounding air, so it sinks and it hits the ground and spreads out. You can sort of imagine it like if you drop a water balloon and you see the water spreading out, the cold air does the same thing when it hits the ground. So you get these very quick bursts of gusty winds. Once we have these showers moving through, these storms moving through, the lower level of the atmosphere obviously isn't so dry anymore. So any additional showers that we have back to the west, and there are a few of them, they're not going to be able to produce those strong winds because you're not going to have that difference in temperature, that difference in dew point that would allow for that wind to, for that air to sink down to the surface and then spread outward. So the risk of severe weather behind these storms, not particularly high. However, I will say with the storms we're dealing with now, again, like you've been talking about here in northeastern Rutherford County, this is a more significant wind signature than what we were seeing before. It's more organized, a little more widespread, and that matches pretty well with seeing the uptick in intensity of precipitation as well. So a little bit greater possibility that any given point there in northeastern Rutherford County could see those higher winds.
Very good. Meteorologist Ray Miller joining us as we continue coverage of the severe thunderstorm warnings here in Rutherford County. Thanks, Ray. Appreciate that. And
My pleasure.
we have a look at your radar here. Some of the warnings are going to begin to drop off here in just a few. There's another 5 minutes left on this western half. There is another warning that has about 35 minutes left. But it does look like in the next 30 minutes or so, we'll have this to the east. What you're looking at here is on the left side, that is reflectivity, what's falling from the sky, what it looks like. The darker the returns, the maybe heavier the rainfall. You can see possibly some hail within a radar signature or presentation like this. Over here on this side, we're looking at the winds. And where you see the pockets of yellow there, just east of Kittrell Elementary School and just south and east of Las Casas Elementary School, that's where some of the strongest winds are occurring with the storms right now. So that's kind of a dual mode that we can show you here. This is about to make its way, well, it's in a quadrant really from Kittrell to Reedyville, Floration, Pleasant View, Gum, Big Springs. We'll go into Cannon County, Reedyville, and Bradyville here in the next view. And we're just left with light showers after that. And I'll pull out, give you a wide view here, and put it into motion. And as you can see, there's not much else behind it, or at least anything that's going to be of the severe variety. Take a look at a few of our cameras. Still a pretty low cloud deck at the Siegel Skycam. Downtown Murfreesboro. This is looking off to the east, and you can see, well, it's really looking off to like the northeast. So it's not looking directly east where this storm is, but you can see that's the NHC building downtown. So you can really see from the right half of that view what you're seeing are some darker clouds right there. That's where our storm is. Let's go back over here to the power outages. And let me do a refresh just to see if we're having have had any more pop up here for us. You know, Ray made a good point about severe thunderstorms and things of that nature. As these storms come through, we have such really great radar product now. It's kind of hard not to see things. By the way, power outages are at 37. And you can see that those outages are kind of scattered, but really becoming, getting some down toward downtown Murfreesboro. Just made me want to pop in and make sure that WGNS radio is still on the air. Looks like things are all right in that neck of the woods. See if I can actually zoom in here, but does not look like I can. Let me take a look at National Weather Service chat. The dogs are getting antsy. I let them out right before. And one of the dogs has a very high anxiety level. The other two, not as much or not such. But for sure, they know something's going on because the other dog is going bananas. And of course, there's my full-time pest here, always at my feet. Full-time pest, I'm telling you. That's not the nervous dog. That's the pest. Let's see. Storm moving to the eastern half of the county. Got a couple of videos thanks to Eddie Smotherman. I'm going to hopefully get over to where I can show them to you. When we work on that. Again, we're watching the areas really probably from Kittrell down to the south. You saw that warning from Murfreesboro to the west, including Blackman break off here. I'm going to put the wind product back up. And anywhere you see those lighter colors. So we could be seeing from Pleasant View to Big Springs, just east of 24. What was affecting us here in the eastern half of the county, that's kind of pushed on into Cannon County at this point. Let's see. So there's our radar update. We could have some higher winds north of Las Casas, east side of Milton, from Milton down to Porterfield. Severe thunderstorm warning remains in effect until 6:30. Let's see about this one up here. 14 minutes for that one and 29 for this one on the southern extent. I honestly think that they're going to trim a lot of Rutherford here in just a couple of minutes. Not seeing any additional reports there, so let me pop over and see if you have any. Temperatures have definitely dropped off. See what it is at the Murfreesboro Airport right now. 75. That was the last report that came in. When was that? 4:35, so it's been a minute. In Laverne, no power. Okay. That is a comment that just came in from Tiffany. I will have to, let me show you this map, and then I'll tell you why I've got to look at another source. On the map, there are two of the purple circles that are in the north end of the county, but you can see on the Middle Tennessee electric map, there is an edge or a corner there that's in Laverne, and some to the south. Those are different power companies. Middle Tennessee Electric does not service those areas. So we would need to look for Nashville Electric in Smyrna. Oh, I'm sorry, in Laverne, pardon me. And see what they're showing in terms of outages. They are showing about 14,000 without power. And unfortunately, some of those are in the Laverne area. I'm able to zoom on this one. Probably not. This one. There we go. Yeah, definitely seeing some power outages scattered in Laverne. Looks like there are 4,600 customers in one report. There's another report of about 1,600. Maybe it's showing in this view. Let's see. Because that would be wild. See if that number went up. No. So we are showing an outage of 4,600 plus. Another in the Laverne area of about 1,600 plus. Another one that's in a different location around the lake there of 3. And I think that one's on into Nashville, just south of Laverne. There's one customer reporting. So, yeah, several outages. And we watched this storm as it made its way kind of down 24 and just east of 24. But we're showing that this is mostly a Cannon County issue here right now. This particular warning drops off in 26 minutes. I don't think we've got a threat for that long. There's 10 minutes on that northern storm. Well, I keep clicking something that makes it zoom out. Sorry. So we have Rutherford County in the full view. Just making sure that I'm not missing anything here on chat. So really appreciate the person who brought my attention to what's going on there, Tiffany, in Laverne. Looks like a lot of you there in Laverne could be in the dark right now. Marlene, you mentioned no power, so I'm not sure what area you're in. But last check at Middle Tennessee Electric, 37. So that has not gone up. Just curious if it would go up the further east you go. And it went up 1 with a refresh, 38. So 38 customers in Rutherford County without power, but some pretty significant power outages up in Laverne. And I will have to roughly show you this. This is the entire Davidson County area with over 14,000. And this would be a rough estimation, but like somewhere right in here, that includes a portion of Rutherford County, Laverne mainly, that gets their power from Nashville Electric. So we were seeing some power outages scattered through here. And I think, if I'm not a betting man, but that pocket that I was seeing that had 14,000 without power, I would think highly that that's the Lake Forest Park and the Lake Forest subdivision area. So it is likely that a lot of folks up in that neck of the woods do not have any electricity. But we're almost done with the rain. We've got some light rain falling north of Eagleville, south of Blackman. That storm is really rocking along in Woodbury right now. And again, nothing behind. So with that being said, I really don't suspect that we're going to have any additional problems. So we're going to let radio go back to regular programming here. And we will, of course, be nearby if anything gets rambunctious, and we'll pop back on radio as well. But I do think we're in a good place to be able to go on into our radio coverage. So give me a moment to get that all fine and dandy and good and going, and we'll be back here next time. In any severe weather, you can hear the warnings on WGNS Radio, FM 101.9 and AM 1450 in Murfreesboro, 100.5 in Smyrna. And, of course, you can watch our coverage on the Rutherford Weather Channel, where this coverage will continue for a little bit. Facebook, YouTube, X, Twitch, Ruco Weather on all of those platforms, or just head to rutherfordwx.com. And from there, you can get to the links to your favorite, whatever it might be from those socials. And when you do that, be sure to like, subscribe, turn on your notifications. That way, when we go live on the channel, you'll be notified, and share. You know, others here in Rutherford County that would like to know about weather and get live weather coverage, well, tell them about Rutherford Weather. Saying so long on radio, I'm Bryan Barrett. All right. Clear of radio. And we're going to kind of take a step back mentality here a little bit. We'll continue to watch, get your reports. If you want to continue to comment, we'll be here monitoring that. If you want to send in any photos, if you've had some damage or whatnot, send in those photos. RutherfordWX@gmail.com. That's RutherfordWX@gmail.com. You can send those to us, and we'll be sure to post them as well coming up here. But really honestly surprised that there are some warnings that have been canceled. But ours is continuing here for the next 20 minutes south of town and the next 5 minutes north of downtown Murfreesboro. And this is really just the eastern half of the county. If you're from Laverne, Smyrna, Blackman, Rockvale, Eagleville, overall, it's time for dinner, right? 6:25. If you're to the east, only a small sliver of the county is even getting rain at this point. East of Las Casas, really just west of Kittrell, running down Highway 70 there. And it's even crossed over I-24, even the lighter rain between there and Bradyville going into Cannon County. I have no idea what I keep clicking, but it zooms it all the way out, and it's annoying me. So we'll figure out what that is at some point soon. So let me get you over to the scene where you can see some of our live cameras. I'll pop in the downtown Murfreesboro camera. You can see just kind of a dreary look there. And here is a look at North Murfreesboro, looking toward the Smyrna Laverne area. Low cloud deck, but definitely lighter in this part of the city than it is up north. And we're really working hard to try to find some places in Smyrna Laverne, try to get some additional coverage out there of some of the live cameras as these storms come in and kind of grow the channel. So thanks for being here with us. We're going to keep radar going here for the next little bit, and we're definitely not going to end the live stream until the warnings have been dropped. Then we'll kind of make a decision after that. So hit us up in the comments. We'll be sure to share those as well. You are watching the Rutherford Weather Channel. All right. Well, guess what? No warnings. No warnings. There are no warnings left in Rutherford County. Hip, hip, hooray. So we're kind of continuing to watch the deal with the power outages from Nashville Electric Service. So that's up in the Smyrna, Laverne area. But I think we're in good shape. Maybe we're in good enough shape here. We can just in the live stream. Don't think we've got anything else down the pike. Those Davidson County power outages are still about where they were, 14,000. And again, we saw one of the areas that had some of the outages. It would appear one of those areas was here in Lake Forest Park. There was a heavy concentration on the Nashville Electric map. Let's pop back over there. That's got to be where that is. It's showing really east of Murfreesboro Pike. So this is South Lowry, as it's called here, but there's Murfreesboro Road. It was picking up South Lowry from Smyrna. So it's saying east of here. So here's coming into Nashville. There's Murfreesboro Road. It's saying east of that, which would be in this direction. And that puts this huge, what was at one time the largest subdivision in the country, Lake Forest, puts that right in the crosshairs of where that's about 4,600 still without power as of 20 minutes ago. And the other scattered outages, one of them's up here near Four Corners. And I'm looking at two different maps, so this is not exactly where it is, but maybe another one here. And those are like 3, 4, 5. But that's the largest one, and that's Lake Forest subdivision. I say that with 95% assurance. But as you can see, the rest of Rutherford County, we're all good. Well, all good in Laverne too, just maybe without power and some other scattered outages. So let me pop over before we do leave. Thank you, Miss Polly. Love seeing you. Sometime soon, maybe. I don't see a whole lot here in our comments, so I think we're good to go here for a few. So if you like what we do here, share with friends, family, neighbors, in-laws, outlaws, and tell them about the Rutherford Weather Channel. We're on Facebook, YouTube, X, and Twitch. So you can find us in all of those places. And we'll be glad to help you along through the storms here. But this one's on out of here. The extended forecast looks pretty good. Maybe a few more rain chances on past the weekend, but right now not showing much. And, you know, you might think today was a nothing burger in your area, but enough wind in North Rutherford County and Laverne area to put over 4,600 people without power. So definitely had some winds today. It was never going to be the setup of tornado kind of a setup for us with this one. Like I was telling you earlier, I think I got interrupted because a new warning came out and didn't finish my thought, but I was mowing earlier, and the rain that fell, I had to stop mowing, and then I could go back out. We had a little storm pop up that gave us some hail out in Las Casas. But man, was that a cold, cold rain. And so that just kind of showed the type of atmosphere that we had for sure. But we're all good now. Deborah says 2, possibly 3 large trees down in their backyard. So certainly we've had some scattered damage. If you want to share some of the photos with us, we can share those as well with the National Weather Service, and that will kind of give them a great idea of where the stronger storms were and, you know, things of that nature. Any hail size, we'll pass them along to them as well at the National Weather Service, or just take that photo and hit them up, hashtag T-Spotter on X, I believe it is. But I can get it to them if you want to send them over to me, rutherfordwx@gmail.com. rutherfordwx@gmail.com, same as the website, rutherfordwx.com. And there you go. All right, friends, we will see you very soon. Well, I say that. Maybe not. Let's hope not. It's not, I don't want to be that guy, though, that's the guy that brings bad news every time that comes around. But that's what we're here for on the Rutherford Weather Channel, and we'll be here in the next storm as well. For meteorologist Justin Bailey and meteorologist Ray Miller, Bryan Barrett, we sign off of the Rutherford Weather Channel. Hope you have a very peaceful rest of the night. It's okay to go out and get dinner, whatever you had plans to do. Think you're in good shape. They're probably going to restart some ball games, those that didn't get a lot of heavy rain, and this wasn't a heavy rain event. So you may be out and about or in the car waiting. So there you go. We'll be back next time. I'm Bryan Barrett for Rutherford Weather.